Hi, it's that time of year again when people are doing their year in review and so on and so forth. And this is the time of year for the top 10 for a lot of YouTubers, booktubers. I think I've previously stated in other videos they have stolen this type of video thing from like Jeremy Jans and Just One Reader. But I think probably the ancient Greeks invented the top 10, and if not the ancient Greeks, then I'm sure there's like probably some caveman, ancient man who's had like top 10 of rocks or top 10 hunting locations, probably. So I don't know who invented top 10s, but this is my top 10 best books of 2023. Starting at number 10, we have The Blue Max by Jack D. Hunter, a story of a character who wants to really imitate von Richthofen, the Red Baron. He wants to be a ace in World War One, and he wants to earn the Blue Max, a medal awarded to aces of World War One for German Austro-Hungary. Bruno Stachel, the name of our main character. Right, interesting main character. Not exactly likable. He's brash, arrogant, but he's sort of a different class from the other pilots who are sort of aristocratic and sort of quite well off, some of them. Different from the movie. The movie gives quite a different ending, which is actually I don't think I'll bother with the spoiler alert, but the movie actually kills the main character, where the book has a sequel. I don't know if I'll bother with the sequel. Maybe I'll get to it at some point, but it paints the female character in the story in a very different light from the movie. But a very good book. Number 9, we have Empire of the Sun by J.G. Ballard, a sort of semi-fictional autobiography of J.G. Ballard, who was born in Shanghai towards the sort of mid-World War II, sort of not quite closing stages, but getting near there, and he was interned in a Japanese prison camp for I think maybe most of the war. A harrowing read, but it's war from this child's point of view. It's arduous journey through some horrifying times. I don't know if I would say it's J.G. Ballard's best work. High Rise or Kingdom Come, I would be, I think, torn between those two, although bearing in mind I've not read much of J.G. Ballard. But Empire of the Sun is a really good story, very powerful. Number 8, we have The Guns of Navarone by Alistair MacLean. In my opinion, it's not as good as Where Eagles Dare. I thought Where Eagles Dare was a bit better. Very similar. A crack group of commandos scaling a sort of remote area in order to knock out a fortress, or in this case a fortress slash weapon gun battery. I think maybe the movie is better than the book. I think David Niven maybe gives his best performance, although I've not seen many David Niven movies, but I think maybe he gives his best performance, and I think maybe the same, well, not quite the same, can be said for Gregory Peck, whose best movie I think is To Kill a Mockingbird, but he does give a really solid performance in Guns of Normandy. A good movie, a good thriller, but I don't think it's Alistair MacLean's best work. Still very good though. Coming in at number, where are we? Number 7. We have The Naked and the Dead by Norman Mailer. Again, somewhat of a semi-autobiographical work. Norman Mailer was with, I don't know if it was the US Marine Corps, but he was a US soldier during World War II, when they were fighting against the Japanese. As you can see, I don't know if it's a chunkster, I think it probably qualifies as a chunkster, but it really is a masterpiece in characterization. You've got a group of American soldiers, and they're all sort of from different backgrounds. There's Jewish, I think there's Hispanic, there's your sort of country sort of guys, city slickers, and but they're all these very different characters, and it's a long, grueling journey through the jungle, very arduous, tough times. The book is better than the movie. The movie's somewhat bland, and it gives a sort of a happy ending, and compared with the book, where the main character of the movie lives, the main character of the book dies, and the sort of crazy general guy survives and doesn't really learn any sort of a lesson in his ways. Very good book. Number 6 is St. Peter's Fair by Ellis Peters. I think it's the 4th in the Brother Cadfael saga, and it was a while since I'd last read the last book in the Brother Cadfael saga, which was Monk's Hood, which again was another very good story. But I got back into these when I read St. Peter's Fair. It's a fantastic medieval murder mystery, lots of great characters, and it's some more of a romance as well. Very sort of beautiful book. Let's see where we are. Number 5 is The Kiowa Trail by Louis L'Amour. This is a western done right. Best western I've read for quite a while. Can't remember the last really good western that comes to mind, but Louis L'Amour, I think, a very well known name in westerns, maybe the best known. But Kiowa Trail has a little bit of everything. It's got a romance, even though it's a bit of a doomed romance. It's got a strong female character who's something of the main character. It's got a town under siege. It's got quite intelligent characters. There's sort of a grittiness to it, and sort of a class struggle as well. But it's really a great western. Number 4 is Slaves and Highlanders, Silent Histories of Scotland and the Caribbean by David Alston. A very important book. I don't think we have enough of these books, even though the plantation owners, and the slavery, I think, is very well documented. There's maps, there's all sorts of historical newspapers, writings, letters, so on and so forth. But we don't really know enough. And it doesn't really paint it's a hard sort of thing to navigate. Slave owners, we know slavery is evil, but the slave owners would have been the business people, well, businessmen of their time, and the relationships which they had with their slaves, and sometimes freed slaves, is very complex, and it takes into account that as well. So it's an important non-fiction book. Number 3 is another non-fiction book. This is Other Lands, A World in the Making by Thomas Halliday, and this explains, or takes you through a sort of a journey, a look at the ancient worlds after the sort of dinosaurs, and around the appearance of the sort of first mammals. It's non-fiction, but it's really beautifully written. I don't know if I can read a passage at the back, if it's long enough. Quite a lot of notes as well. So very well researched, and I'm sure this person, Thomas Halliday, probably owns many fossils and has probably gone on expeditions looking for fossils himself. I don't know if there's a bit of an epilogue I can read. Let's see here. Only by altering our habits and by endeavouring to live less exploitatively can we prevent the changes to the environment from becoming an unparalleled catastrophe, another great dying. The planet cannot provide the resources required to support life as profligate as that now enjoyed in economically developed nations, let alone enough extra for other species to feed and mate and live their own lives. The only reliable way of keeping the wild worlds of today from becoming another forgotten set of ecosystems, another gallery in the museum of a future epoch, is to reduce consumption and stop relying on climate-changing sources of energy. Inevitably, these solutions meet with resistance. People are understandably worried that it might lower our quality of life in the short term, and involve some personal and societal effort. Yet within decades, without action at the level of the community, of the nation, of the globe, we will certainly suffer even more. For long-term well-being as a species and as individuals, we must enter into a more mutualistic relationship with our global environments. Only then can we preserve not just their infinite variety, but also our place within them. Change eventually is inevitable, but we can let the planet take its own time as we allow the shifting sands of geological time to lead us gently into the worlds of tomorrow. Sacrifice an act of permanence, then too we will live in hope. So that's not quite the section that I had in mind to read, but I think from that short sort of warning about climate change in the future, you can get a sort of a taste of how beautifully the book is written. Number 2 is The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis. It's a library book that I read, so I don't have a copy. But here's Lunar Park by Bret Easton Ellis as an example. I was really caught up in The Shards. I think that is Bret Easton Ellis's best work, or maybe his best work to date, but I don't know if it could really top The Shards. A fictional autobiography compared to the others, which were sort of fictional semi-autobiography, but The Shards tells of a coming-of-age tale with a serial killer mixed in a typical sort of Bret Easton Ellis drugs and sex and 80s references. I thought the homoerotic writing was really good stuff. And as I say, I got swept up in it, and I think completely taken in by the unreliable narrator. I was on his side, the side of the narrator, the Bret Ellis character, the whole time, and caught up in the teenage high school drama of it as well. But there's a particular scene, the home invasion scene, which is this white knuckle stuff. You really get absorbed into it. Maybe towards the end it gets a bit silly, but it's still my pick for number 2. And my pick for number 1 is Young Mongo by Douglas Stewart. I can easily see why he won the Booker Prize for Shuggie Bain, even though I really couldn't get into Shuggie Bain. I don't know why. I just couldn't get what was going on. But Young Mungo's much in the sort of same vein. But as I say, I think there's just so much truth to this, so much fantastic observational things. I don't know what time Douglas Stewart left Glasgow, Scotland to go to America, but it really is it's amazing how he's got his writing finger on the pulse of Scotland at that time in the 1990s, and being gay and in the closet, and the attitudes and the family dynamic, the class issue, the bigotry, all that stuff is just fantastic. This is, I think, so many young gay Scottish men's lives really, in sort of a way, mirror this story. Not the murder part, I don't think, and not the two really horrible characters that he's camping with out in the wilderness near Loch Lomond, but so much of the other stuff is just incredibly real, and I would say dated. Things have changed now. The Scottish Parliament's approved same-sex marriage a couple of years ago. I think it is, maybe in certain areas, changed times, but it's really a fantastic coming of age story. There's so many truths, a lot of harsh truths. He's a trapped character. It's not really the sort of happy ending that you would like, although there could definitely be a sequel where the two characters meet up on Facebook many years later. I could definitely see that. But it's just fantastically written. So, interesting enough, two, what I would say, homoerotic and two non-fiction books at the top of the list. I wasn't really expecting that. So, I would expect or hope that next year will be filled with science fiction, but we shall see next year. Thanks for watching. Bye.